Good afternoon, everyone. Today we are going to start with a chapter motivating across cultures. In this chapter, we will discuss about the motivation. What is motivation? Some theories of motivational across cultures, such as there are universalist assumptions, process theory of motivation, Maslow theory of motivation, hierarchy of needs theory, which is also the international findings on Maslow theory, Herzberg theory, which is known as the two-factor theory of motivation, and achievement of motivational theory, uh, select process theory, in which we will discuss about three theories: equity theory, goal setting theory, and expectancy theory. This is all about which we are going to start with in today in this class. Starting with the motivation. What is motivation? Uh, Motivation is the activation or energization of goal-oriented behavior. Motivation may be intrinsic or extrinsic. The term is generally used for humans, but theoretically it can also be used to describe the causes for animal behavior as well. This article refers to human motivation. According to various theories, motivation may be rooted in the basic needs to minimize physical pain and maximize pleasure, or it may include specific needs such as eating and resting, or a desired object, hobby, goal, state of being, ideal, or it may be attributed to less apparent reasons such as altruism, morality, or avoiding morality. There are some nature of motivation about which we can discuss. The first assumptions of motivational theory is that motivational process is since universal, that all people are motivated to pursue goals they value. What the work motivation theorists call goals is the high valence or preference. You might be aware of valence. The term valence is in the science. The term valence means the ability of an atom to combine with other atoms measured by the numbers of electrons. हिंदी में हम इसको संयोजन कहते हैं. In this way, here the motivational assumptions are having the high valence built between the culture and work or the goals which anyone is going to pursue. The assumptions are the process is universal. All the process is universally applied on the every human being whosoever is working what in whatever region or whatever culture. Second is culture influences the specific content and goals pursued. Different countries had the different culture, different areas had the different culture. I have given in previous videos and in previous lectures, I have given some examples that even in India, there are so many cultures available. In South, the culture is different, and the North, the culture is different. The working culture, as we generally take the example of working culture of the Japan is different, and America's working culture is different. And India is also having a different working culture. So therefore, here in assumptions, it has been assumed that culture always influences the goals pursued. Motivation differs across cultures. Always the working condition or the behavior of the organization or the behavior of the higher authorities always affects the motivation, and it always differs from one country to another country. So the assumption of content and process. Uh, there are two theories which is known as the content theories of motivation and process theory of motivation. Content theory of motivation is explains work motivation in terms of what arouses or energizes or initiates employee to their behavior, while the process theory of motivation explains work motivation by how employee behavior is initiated, redirected, or halted. Here we will discuss about the Maslow theory. Maslow has given a motivational theory, which is there are some basic assumptions for the Maslow theory. Means one, the assumption first is lower level needs must be satisfied before high level needs become motivator. Because if you will pursue the high level of needs, the lower level of needs may be abandoned. In so here the Maslow has assumed, generally we assume that if we will pursue for the high level of needs, the small level of needs automatically will be fulfilled or satisfied. But here the Maslow have assumed that lower level needs must be satisfied before higher level needs becomes motivators. Means we should move towards step by step. A need that is satisfied no longer serves as a motivator. Once we have satisfied our needs, that is not the motivator. Means the next need or higher level of need will become the motivator. There are more ways to satisfy higher level than there are ways to satisfy lower level needs. Means according to Maslow, there are two different ways of satisfying their needs. Higher level has the different way and the lower level has the different way to satisfy their needs. So then we will discuss the hierarchy of need theory. What is the hierarchy of need theory? As the Maslow has assumed in their uh, theory. Since Maslow discussed about the hierarchy, how a high level of need can be satisfied in different ways and the low level of satisfied need may be satisfied in different ways, and uh, the high level low level of needs first be satisfied, and the step by step we should follow the high level of needs. So then what should be the hierarchy? With some minor modification, researchers examined the need satisfaction and need importance of the four highest level needs in the Maslow hierarchy. Esteem needs were divided into two groups: esteem and anatomy. Esteem includes needs for self-esteem and prestige, and autonomy includes desires for authority and opportunity for independent thought and action. This was the need hierarchical need of Maslow theory. Now, Herzberg theory, the two-factor theory of motivation. Here, Herzberg has given two-factor theory. The two-factor theory, a theory that identifies two sets of factors that influence job satisfaction. What are that factors? Number one is motivators. There should be some factor to motivate for getting the goal or to achieving the goal. Second is job content factors such as achievement, recognition, responsibility, advancement, and the work itself motivates the goals to achieve. If you have the responsibility, if you are getting the recognition and you are having a high achievement, then you will get certainly motivated to achieve the higher goal. And hygiene factors means the working condition always affects your achieving the goals towards. uh, this is a motivational factors in a good circumstances, in good environment. Certainly you will be devoted more towards your goal and towards your uh, achievement. But if the working conditions or the hygiene factors of workplace is not good, then you will be demotivated. Therefore, here is the hygiene factors very important for getting the motivation. The two factor theory holds that motivators and hygiene factors relate to employee satisfaction, a more complex relationship than the traditional view that employees are either satisfied or dissatisfied. If hygiene factors are not taken care of or deficient, there will be dissatisfaction, as I have told in previous line. There may be no dissatisfaction if hygiene factors are taken care of. There may be no dissatisfaction also. But in my view, in my research, I have found that the hygiene factors are more important than the any other motivational factors. Therefore, the hygiene factors are having the importance in Herzberg theory. Only when motivators are present will there be satisfaction. Now, achievement of motivational theory. What are those achievements which motivate the achieving of goals or goal achievement? Uh, Characteristic profile of high achievers are they like situations in which uh, they take personal responsibility for finding solutions to problems. Second is tend to be moderate risk takers rather than high or low risk takers. They always want concrete feedback on their performance. This is human tendency in every place or every situation or in every country. This is human tendency. Everyone wants a concrete feedback. When he gets a good feedback, he is highly motivated. When he gets a bad feedback, he is demotivated. And then concrete feedback is always a measure of good performance, often tend to be loners and not team players. So, in this way, high neck can be learned ways to develop high achievement needs. What are that ways? Number one, obtain feedback on performance and use the information to channel efforts into areas where success will likely be attained. Second is emulate people who have been successful achievers. They always give everyone to be they act as a motivator. They always give energy to everyone, so emulate people who have been successful achievers. Third is develop an internal desire for success and challenges. uh, Fourth is daydream in positive terms by picturing oneself as successful in the pursuit of uh, important objectives. Uh, in the next, there was little bit interruption in the internet problem. Sorry. Uh, Select process theories. Select process theory, as I have told earlier, there is three theories. One is equity theory, second is goal setting theory, and third is expectancy theory. We will discuss one by one, starting with the equity theory. When people perceive they are being treated equitable, it will have a positive effect on their job satisfaction. Always everyone tries to be equal. So equity theory is very important in the job satisfaction. If they believe they are not being treated fairly, especially in relation to relevant others, they will be dissatisfied, which will have a negative effect on their job performance, and they will strive to restore equity. So there is considerable findings when the theory is examined on international basis. The results were mixed. Number one result was equity perceptions among managers and non-managers in all Israeli production unit, Kurzberg. Kibbutz में everyone was treated the same, but managers reported lower satisfaction levels than the workers because they were thinking themselves as a high place. Therefore, they were perceiving themselves as a lower satisfaction. Managers perceived their contribution to be greater than other groups in the kibbutz and felt undercompensated for their value and effort. Managers were thinking that they are having the high post and they should be treated in high according to their post. But in equity theory, everyone is treated equally, so they were having that demotivation. Employees in Asia and the Middle East often readily accept inequitable treatment in order to preserve group harmony. Third is men and women in Japan and Korea and in Latin America typically receive different pay for doing the same work. Due to years of cultural conditioning, women may not feel they are treated inequitably. Now, second is goal setting theory, a process theory that focuses on how individuals go about setting goals and responding to them and the overall impact of this process on motivation. A specific area that are given attention in goal setting theory include the level of participation in setting goals, goal difficulty, goal specificity, the importance of objective, timely feedback to progress towards goal. Unlike many theories of motivation, goal settings has been continually refined and developed. There is considerable evidence showing that employees perform extremely well when they are assigned specific and challenging goals that they have in hand. For example, Norwegian employees shunned participation and performed to have their union representative work with management in determining work goals. In the United States, employee participation in setting goals is motivational. It had no value for Norwegian employees in this history. And third is the expectancy theory, a process theory that postulates that motivation is influenced by a person's belief that effort will lead to performance, performance will lead to specific outcomes, and the third, the outcomes will be of value to the individual. Expectancy theory predicts that high performance followed by high rewards will lead to high satisfaction. Does this theory have universal application? This is the basic question which was raised by the experts. Eden, one of the experts who were having the research on this theory, found some support for it while studying workers in Israeli kibbutz company. And Matsui and colleagues found it could be successfully applied in Japan. In this way, expectancy theory could be culture bound. International managers must be aware of this limitation in motivating human resources since expectancy theory is based on employees having considerable control over their environment. So, assembly line employees in Japan work at a rapid pace for hours and have very little control over their work activities. US assembly line employees typically work somewhere between at a pace less demanding than Japan's but more structured than Sweden's. This was all the theory of the motivation theory. Now we will discuss more in the next video or in the next slide. Thank you very much for this.